Hi there. So, what's the key to becoming a much, much better composer that nobody actually really wants to do? Well, there's no spoilers. It's transcription or transcribing, which is a awfully posh, I don't know, scary sounding word for something that's actually very straightforward in its concept, but can be as complex or as complicated as you want in its execution. Um, why does nobody want to do it? Because it's actual real work. Transcribing something, however you choose to do it, is like it's real, like computational, mind crunching workout stuff for the musical brain. In my experience, I think so. Anyway, it's like running a marathon, or it's like doing a session at the gym or something. It's really good for you, but do we, yeah, I suppose you enjoy getting to the gym and running and doing a workout because you get the good after feeling. And I think actually this is very, very similar. And it also has a great history. All composers have done it. I think all composers have done transcribing at some time. All musicians have done it, probably without even realizing, right the way back through history. J.S. Bach, he was a great transcriber. Mozart transcribed stuff. Everybody, I think, probably does this at some point, but doing it deliberately and doing it as a conscious learning activity can be really, really powerful. And I genuinely think it's one of the most important things you can do to really, really improve as a music producer. Why? Well, it's a doing thing. I think I'm really guilty of this, and you're doing it right now, is sitting watching YouTube videos and hoping it's going to give the answer and the key to being better, or I don't know, becoming a composer or whatever. And a YouTube video might do, and a tutorial might do, and reading something might do, but actually doing the thing and getting stuck into the thing and struggling and fighting and, battling with the thing like transcribing is so much more potent. So how does it work? Well, transcribing can be a number of things. It can be listening to a piece of music and literally trying to copy it and play it on your instrument. So if I don't know, if you can hear a piano piece and you want to learn to play it on the piano, then you would listen to it and you learn it and you play it back on the piano. It can be listening to a bigger ensemble piece, an orchestral piece, and then trying to play it yourself on an instrument. So you're picking out the chords and the melody. It can be writing down what you can hear, either in notation, if that's your thing, or in guitar tab, or in numbers and words and, diagrams, whatever is a way of, representing it visually for you. It can be listening to a track and listening to its production quality and trying to copy that. It can be listening to a particular type of instrumental writing and trying to copy and emulate that. It's really, really, really widely open to interpretation what transcription means. So the first thing you need to work out when you have decided you are going to be doing transcription is your why. And I think probably the best way is to give you a few examples from what I've done. So, for example, I've used transcription to try and improve my string writing on the computer. So my sample string writing, trying to make sample strings sound as realistic as possible. So I've done that by getting a really nice recording of a string piece, popping it into my DAW, loading up my strings, and then having a score in front of me and playing it and trying to reproduce it as closely as possible. So that's really, really, really vitally important. It's so powerful just in terms of learning how balance works, how the instruments combine, how they do overlap, particularly in samples, and how you need to EQ, how to use reverb, how to tail things off. I mean, the list is absolutely endless. Different articulations. I did it with string quartets, symphony movements. Barber's Adagio was one I did all the way through, which took forever, but was really, really worthwhile. I found that really, really powerful. Now, that might totally not be your sort of wheelhouse at all, but there may be a parallel, similar sort of thing that you could do to improve your VST writing with samples to make them sound more realistic? Can you copy a live guitar performance or a live piano performance or a live string or wind performance with a VST and try and get it as accurate as possible, for example, just like I did? Other things I did, I still do, but I previously really struggled when I was writing trailer music to get that really tight, punchy, powerful trailer percussion sound, trailer drum sound. Well, I've done two things with this. I've used stems, so it is possible on some production music websites and some trailer house websites, on their source audio pages, you can just listen to the drum stems, for example. So I can't get that into my DAW, but I can listen to the drum stem, have my have Cubase open at the same time, and I have literally copied. Doesn't matter about, you're not composing. I'm literally listening for the sound. He said, pointing to his deaf ear. More about that in another video. Literally listening for the sound, listening for the balance, the mix, the attack, the reverb, the compression, the use of, effects on it, and trying just to literally match it as closely as possible. I've done the same with all sorts of production music tracks, trailer tracks, for example. Just copying them, something where I know that my production isn't as good as this. I know it doesn't sound as good as this. Having it in front of me, not worrying about the composing, but just copying literally note for note and trying to get the mix as good, trying to get the overall sound as good, trying to get the balance as good. That's a really, really powerful, but painfully slow and difficult thing to do. But it really does yield results. It's really, really worth it. So you're not composing, you're not concentrating on composing. It's not that. You're learning, for example, the chords or harmonic sequence of a piece. You might want to, you've heard a large orchestral piece and you want to work out what the chords are, for example, or a film soundtrack or something. You want to know how the chords and melody go together. So you might learn to play it on the piano or produce a lead sheet with the chords and the melody, for example, just so you can see the overall architecture. You might want to do it in a lot more detail and try and also orchestrate it as well. But that would be, I think, a fairly massive task, but it could be done. You could do it from the score and do a similar thing as I was saying, and copying the sound and trying to get it accurate. But this is not, you are literally copying, you're literally reproducing. So you obviously you can't copy and send and mark any of this as your own work and your own original thought, because it's not. What you're doing is learning from somebody who has gone before you. So I don't know what's the easiest way. I've got an open piano in front of me here with the keys and everything. I don't exactly know how a piano works and how the hammers and everything works. I can see roughly how it works because I'm looking at it with the front off. Gives me an idea. That's sort of equivalent of, I suppose, listening to a piece of music in real detail and really, really concentrating and doing really, really in-depth listening to try and learn its harmonic language, how the instruments fit together, etc., etc. But if I really want to know how that piano works, I need to get a spanner and a screwdriver and I need to start taking it apart. So I'd literally take it apart key by key, bit by bit. And to really, really learn how it works, I would need to put it back together again so that it's working as well. And that's exactly what transcribing is. It's learning bit by bit. It's looking under the hood, looking at the detail, taking the thing apart, putting it back together. Not so that you can pass the thing off as your own, but you can take that learning and you can take that new knowledge and you can apply it to your own work, which is the really important thing. So going back to my example, a couple of examples I use there, the string writing, when I'd done Barber's Adagio and I'd done that and copied it and got it sounding as accurate as I could on the computer here, my string writing the next time I wrote a string piece was literally 5-10 times better. It was pretty awful before I did that, but it was 10 times better. There's always room for improvement, believe me. But it was 10 times better. Same thing with the trailer tracks as well, those trailer drum things. I spent a lot of time pounding my head on my speakers here trying to get it accurate. The next time I came to drums in my own trailer track, again, the improvement was huge. So you need to decide what it is you're trying to learn. Don't just transcribe a piece of music for the sake of it. You need to work out what you want to learn about and particularly hone in on that and work out what's the best method of doing it, which will get you to that, to that goal the quickest and the soonest. The other thing also that I learned doing this is that you don't actually need to do the whole track, and that does take a phenomenally long amount of time. You can learn just as much from doing a short chunk in loads of detail. In fact, you learn most of the time, you're going to learn more from doing a small chunk in absolute detail than you are from doing a great big long piece and sketching your way through it and getting frustrated and bored. It's also the sort of thing you can only come to. For me personally, I can only do like half an hour or so this at a time without it totally screwing my head. So small chunks, I think, over a sustained period of time is the way to go with it. So, a couple of things that really help with this then. I mentioned already that having a file in Cubase or your Logic or your DAW is really helpful, and you can directly go to your DAW or your notation software if that's how you want to do it. That can be really helpful. Again, if you're listening and you're trying to work out harmony and melody, then having something like I will put this in the notes down below in the description. There's a couple of free bits of software that you can use specifically for this that will slow down a track, and you can listen to it in slow motion, and it doesn't change the pitch. It keeps it going in slow motion, which will really helpful if you are transcribing and making a lead sheet, for example, or you're trying to transcribe a piano piece or something like that. And I think the other thing to say is that actually you'd have to try and make it as fun as you can. So try and choose music for this that you really like, that you really love, that you're really interested in it, that you want to get to know in intimate detail, and it will make the process a little bit easier and a little bit more palatable. I hope that was helpful, and I can only just encourage you, if you've got this far, only encourage you to do this in whatever small, manageable amount is possible for you, and as regularly as is possible for you. And over time, it will have such a really huge impact on your composing. But it is hard work. Finally, before I go, I'm going to do some track reviews in a couple of weeks. And if you would like your track reviewed here on YouTube, you don't mind your track being played on YouTube anonymously and being reviewed, then please get in touch. I would love to hear from you. Orchestral sort of production music, instrumental music is great for me, not great at rock, pop and hip hop. So my wheelhouse is a lot more sort of a lot less trendy than that, really. I'm just not really high fashion. I'm just sort of, So if it's anything cinematic, anything neoclassical, anything piano-y, stringsy, anything instrumental at all, I would love to hear it, and I will do a review for you. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in another video soon. Bye-bye.